everyone? It's me, Steph, aka Alternerd, and welcome back to the Planet of Nerds. Alright then, let's get down to it. So, it's been 4 years since Carrie Fisher sadly passed away, and as I was going through Twitter and everyone remembering her and sharing stories, I came across this article from faroutmagazine.co.uk, and I thought it'd be an idea just to share it with you lot. So, apologies if I'm going to butcher the name here. It's from Swapnil Durov Bose, and the title is Carrie Fisher, The Turbulent Life of an Unsung Hollywood Hero. I like it how it starts off. Quote from her: "I don't want my life to imitate art, I want my life to be art." Well, in my opinion, she transcends, but there you go. So, the article kicks off. American actor Carrie Fisher will probably be remembered by most people for her iconic role as Princess Leia in George Lucas's magnum opus, the Star Wars franchise. However, there's a lot more to unpack when it comes to understanding Fisher's complex life, as a troubled childhood, broken marriages, and drug addictions took a heavy toll on her mental health. She was known for being unflinchingly honest about her problems in public, prompting her biographer Sheila Weller to write, "Her honesty about her problems gave her strength, empathy toward and relief for others with problems, a unique, wise humour that would grow over the years." But where did it all start? So, she was, still hard to think that she's gone. She was one of those rare Hollywood actors that just said it how it is. Brutal, honest, savage. Like, she was like, yeah, they were my problems. That's all the bullshit I had to get through to get to the other side. And this is how I did it. She didn't sugarcoat anything. And yeah, highly respect anyone that does that. So, she was born in Los Angeles in 1956 to celebrity parents, singer Eddie Fisher and actress Debbie Reynolds, who divorced when she was just 2 years old. Fisher famously joked that someone like her, with all her personal battles, was truly a product of Hollywood inbreeding. When two celebrities mate, someone like me is the result. As a child, she found her escape in books and was referred to as the bookworm in her family. An avid reader of classical literature, Fisher felt inclined towards the arts right from the beginning and wrote poetry as well. "I started reading really early," Fisher admitted to the Los Angeles Times in 2008. "I wanted to impress my father, who is unimpressible. My family called me the bookworm, and they didn't say it in a nice way. I fell in love with words," she added. I was a bookworm as well. I used to, every night, fall asleep with a book. I loved, when I was younger, Beatrix Potter, Winnie the Pooh. Oh, I loved Winnie the Pooh. And then when I started going up a little bit more, I fell into finding Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone when it had just come out, and then kind of went from there. But yeah, I was a bit of a bookworm geek as well. She also mentioned that she always wrote. "I wrote from when I was 12. That was therapeutic for me in those days. I wrote things to get them out of feeling them and onto paper. So writing in a way saved me, kept me company. I did the traditional thing with falling in love with words, reading books and underlining lines I liked and words I didn't know." I never went that far, admittedly, but I did like to write poetry myself. I've not done that for years now, but during like my darkest days when I was a teenager, I went proper dark and emo. Let's put it that way. Following in the footsteps of her parents, Fisher entered show business at the age of 16. She first appeared a debutante and singer in the 1973 hit Broadway revival Irene, starring her mother, but her time on Broadway interfered with her schoolwork, and she ended up having to drop out of high school. The same year, she started studying at London Central School of Speech and Drama, and she followed up education in the arts by enrolling at Sarah Lawrence College, but she left without graduating. I had no idea about that. I mean, I've already read it. I'm just saying. I had no idea about that. Fisher. This is a mouthful. Fisher officially made her film debut 2 years later in the 1975 comedy Shampoo, starring Warren Beatty, Julie Christie and Goldie Hawn. It was filmed the year before, a time when she was just 17, but it wasn't until 1977 that Fisher got a big breakthrough in George Lucas's Star Wars episodes For A New Hope. It was during this whirlwind period that Fisher met musician Paul Simon while filming Star Wars, and the pair dated from 1977 until 1983, eventually going on to be married before the relationship broke down within a year. Fisher was brilliant as Princess Leia. Understatement, a character which further solidified the strong female archetype in the genre. Well, yeah, because, around about the same time you also had Ridley in Alien and Aliens that had been released. So in that kind of genre, a sci-fi situation, yeah, around about that time you were getting more strong female characters coming out. Which I absolutely adore. While reflecting on Fisher's presence on set, Lucas said she was extremely smart, a talented actress, writer and comedian with a very colourful personality that everyone loved. In Star Wars, she was our great and powerful princess, feisty, wise and full of hope in a role that was more difficult than most people might think. Although she made numerous appearances on TV specials during the immediate period, Fisher's next feature film came 3 years after A New Hope. Listed in the credits as Mysterious Woman, she played the part of a vengeful ex-lover in John Landis's 1980 musical comedy The Blues Brothers with Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi. Classic. And yes, I have seen that one, you guys. Fisher, again, finding love in a high-profile place, was briefly engaged to Aykroyd, which I didn't know, who proposed to her on the set of their film, about which she said, "We had rings, we got blood tests, the whole shot, but then I got back together with Paul Simon." That year was an eventful one for Fisher. Not only did she appear on Broadway in censored scenes from King Kong, but she also reprised her role in Lucas's follow-up to the original Star Wars film, The Empire Strikes Back. During this period, Fisher was quickly establishing her celebrity status, with multiple appearances on Rolling Stone covers. She also starred as Sister Agnes in the Broadway production of Agnes of God in 1983. There was a lot of Broadway that she did that I never knew. So this article pretty much illuminates a lot for me. To promote episode 6, Return of the Jedi in 1983, Fisher again appeared on the summer issue of Rolling Stone in the iconic metallic bikini, which has garnered a cult following of its own over the years. Which, yeah, it has, hasn't it? She later revealed that she would have turned down the role of Princess Leia had she realised it would give her the celebrity status that made her parents' lives difficult, another eye-opening aspect of her personal turmoil. Interesting that. A lot, I mean, think about it. Someone said that these days it would be completely alien, wouldn't it? Everyone, who's in that arena, wanting to be an actor, wanting to get their big break, would literally kill to have an iconic role like Princess Leia and, to be remembered up there as one of the greats. But here is Carrie Fisher turning around and saying, if I had a crystal ball and it told me that, it was going to give me all of this, me being Princess Leia, I would have turned it down. Very honest, very brutal, doesn't sugarcoat things. Again, proper respect that. It was around this time that Fisher began to notice that she had become increasingly dependent on drug use. In an interview, she recalled using cocaine on the set of The Empire Strikes Back. Slowly, I realised I was doing a bit more drugs than other people and losing my choice in the matter. After months of sobriety, Fisher accidentally overdosed on a combination of prescription medication and sleeping pills in 1985. She'd been diagnosed with bipolar disorder as a child, and drugs made her feel more normal. Years later, in 2013, Fisher openly discussed what it was like for her. My illness took hold when I was 14 or 15 years old. My father had it too, she said. Having had this illness my entire life, I accommodated it by developing a very big personality. Over the years, writing about having bipolar disorder did help me to be able to talk about my illness in the abstract, to make light of it. That's my way of surviving, to abstract it into something that's funny and not dangerous. Now, I knew that she suffered from substance abuse back in the day. I didn't know, though, that she was using cocaine on the set of Star Wars. That's, that again was illuminating. Fun fact, though, when I watched for the first time Scarface, I was reading up on, some of the facts about that film, and apparently all, let's say, the cocaine that you see in the film and everything, there's a rumour that some of that was actually real cocaine. Rumour, of course, just to put it out there, but yeah, funny little tidbit there. Despite the success of Star Wars, Fisher starred in a number of mediocre films during the early to mid-1980s, including Under the Rainbow in 1981 and Hollywood Vice Squad 5 years later in 1986, a period of flux which, in truth, was dominated by struggles with depression and addiction. Also as well, I suppose when you have such a big, massive role, iconic like Princess Leia, to then try and forge a career from that so you are known for more and do other films, I suppose would be difficult, because everyone just knows you as Princess Leia from Star Wars, so it would be difficult, I suppose, for Carrie Fisher to move on with other roles and be successful in them as well, because of how, the audience saw her and, still sees her, I suppose. In 1987, she published her first novel, Postcards from the Edge, which was semi-autobiographical in nature because she fictionalised and satirised real-life events such as a drug addiction of the late 1970s and a relationship with her mother. As a child, she had always felt she was living in her mother's shadow. When we went out, people sort of walked over to me to get to her, and no, I didn't like it. I overheard people saying she thinks she's so great because she's Debbie Reynolds' daughter, and I didn't like it. It made me different from other people, and I wanted to be the same. The book became a bestseller, and she received the Los Angeles Pen Award for Best First Novel. It was a significant moment in Fisher's life, opening up new doors and allowing a more concentrated sense of artistry. Fisher had starred alongside Barbara Hershey and Mia Farrow in Woody Allen's 1986 comedy drama Hannah and Her Sisters, but she slowly realigned her focus to writing. She published 2 more novels in the 90s and also wrote a film adaptation for her first novel, starring Meryl Streep, Shirley MacLaine and Dennis Quaid. Fisher, and this I didn't know, was also involved in uncredited script work for films like Lethal Weapon 3 and wrote an episode of the television sitcom Roseanne entitled Arsenic and Old Mum, in which her mother Debbie Reynolds made a guest appearance. With a focus now on writing between 1991 and 2005, Fisher became an unsung hero of the major film industry and one of the top script doctors in Hollywood, which meant that she edited and polished other screenwriters' work, often without being credited. Again, that's something I didn't know as well. She was just like proper in the background, making sure that, our favourite shows at the time and our favourite films were like proper top notch. She was hired by George Lucas to polish script scripts for his 92 TV series, The Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, and the dialogue for the Star Wars prequel scripts. So everyone that's essentially turning around and taking the mick and hating on Star Wars' dialogue, the prequels, Carrie Fisher had a hand in that as well, guys. Aside from acting and writing, Fisher was a supporter and advocate for several causes, including women's advocacy, mental health awareness, animal rights, and LGBT causes. In 2008, she wrote her autobiography, Wishful Drinking, based on her one-woman play of the same name, which she wrote and performed at the Geffen Playhouse in Los Angeles from November 2006 to January 2007. Later, the show opened on Broadway, and Fisher's audiobook recording of Wishful Drinking earned her, get this, a nomination for a 2009 Grammy Award in the Best Spoken Word Album category. Shame she didn't win. Fisher made guest appearances on TV series like 30 Rock, for which she earned an Emmy nomination, but it wasn't until 2013 that she confirmed she was going to be part of a major feature film trilogy, beginning with 2015 Star Wars The Force Awakens. She described the old Leia as elderly. She's in an intergalactic old folks home. Let me say that again. She's in an intergalactic old folks' home. I just think she would be just like she was before, only slower and less inclined to be up for the big battle. In December of 2016, Fisher was on a commercial flight from London to Los Angeles when her fellow passengers noticed that she had stopped breathing. After 4 days in intensive care, she had passed away at the age of 60. At the UCLA Medical Center, news which rocked the film industry to its very core. I remember that. Star Wars The Force Awakens had been released the year before, and everyone was excited for what was going to happen next in the Star Wars trilogy, the new one. And then all of a sudden she passed away, and it's like, well, what's going to happen without our Princess Leia? Like, what the douche, right? So the reports that came back were initially inconclusive, but later stated that she did unfortunately have drugs in her system. Her daughter, Billie Lourd, said that Fisher battled drug addiction and mental illness her entire life, and she ultimately died of it. She was purposefully open in all of her work about the social stigmas surrounding these diseases, and know that my mum, she'd want her death to encourage people to be open about their struggles. The next day, her mother, Debbie Reynolds, suffered a stroke while planning Fisher's funeral arrangements and died that afternoon in a devastating period for the Fisher family. It was just like, Carrie Fisher passed away the first day, and then literally, like, not even 24 hours later, we then find out that her mother, Debbie Reynolds, had passed away. It was just like boom, 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 one after another, and it just surreal, who knows what her family were having to go through at the time. Absolutely devastating. Grieving fans made a personalised star for Fisher on Hollywood's Walk of Fame as a memorial for the late icon, along with flowers and candles. Words put on the blank star read, "Carrie Fisher, may the force be with you always, stroke hope." The 2017 film Star Wars The Last Jedi was dedicated to her memory. Her last appearance on the British sitcom Catastrophe aired in April 2017 and made many fans emotional, and earned her a posthumous Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Guest Actress in a Comedy Series nomination. Fisher's life was complicated and tragic in a lot of ways, but she always managed to come out on top and to be honest to herself and her experiences in words. In her words, "There's a part of me that gets surprised when people think I'm brave to talk about what I've gone through. I was brave to last through it." There you go. Remembering Carrie Fisher today, our Princess Leia. May she rest in peace. And, yeah. May the force be with you all. Till next time, you guys. Laters.